very big difference.
No, you're just 2 hours and a half ahead of us.
That's good. So how are you doing?
Good. Actually, really good. How about you?
Great. I'm so happy actually to have you for the second. Actually, it's for the second time that I receive or I go live with an Iranian teachers, and actually, you guys are doing an amazing job on Instagram. I see many people from Iran are interested in learning the English language, and also I
Yeah.
think that part of my followers are Iranian people.
Really? That's really
Yes.
interesting. I don't have your voice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Can
Okay,
everyone
guys, if
see me
one
and hear
can.
me well?
Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you pretty well.
Okay.
That's good. There's no
Great.
problem.
All right.
So
Great.
the people here are wondering who is this teacher. So would you like to tell us about yourself a little bit?
Sure. Well, my name is Yegane. I've been teaching for 8 years, but I've been focusing on working with teenagers and adults in the past few years. I help them speak English fluently, more fluently, even if they think they speak fluently, and with less mistakes and more confidence. Um, I haven't gone to any English classes in Iran. I learned English in Canada because I started school in Canada actually,
Oh,
and
really?
I learned English from a pure Canadian woman, which is still in my life, and I love her so much. And I thank her actually, because I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't met her.
Oh, that's great. What's her name?
Kelly,
All right, she's Canadian.
yes, she's Canadian.
So, Yagani, you learned English in Canada. Does this, like, I can see that your accent is, did you get inspired from the Canadian accent?
Well, I think so because, I was there for 3 years. I started school there, I learned English there, and I came back when I was 9. But we have this international school in Iran, which kids go there from, like kids who come from different countries go there. So I had
Yep.
classmates from France, Germany, all around the world from Europe. So yeah,
That's good.
I grew up with them. I spoke English with them every day, and I'm still in contact with them. Hi, Bahare. I'm still in
That's
contact
good.
with them. I still talk to them. So yeah.
That's good. So, you learned English in a different country. Do you think that's learning a language in a country that speak that language is is better than learning English in a country that does not speak the language? For example, I don't know if you have learned English in Iran, would it be different, or it's better to learn the language in Canada or United States or Britain or something?
I could
Does this
say the
change something?
only Mhm. I could say that the only benefit that learning in an English spoken country has, is that you will be able to be in contact with English
Yes.
people every single day. So even if you don't know much, even if you haven't learned that much, you go to a supermarket, you have to talk in English. So I
Yes.
could say that's the only benefit, but I can't say that it's better than learning in your own country. No, I can't say that. It really depends. I mean, yes, if I had learned English in Iran, maybe I hadn't had this accent, but accent isn't important. The important thing is that to learn the correct pronunciation of words. And I know I have seen my colleagues, my um, other English teachers, that they don't actually pronounce every single word right, but we live in the 21st century. We have internet, we have dictionaries, you have tons of resources like movies, TV series, YouTube, and you can go and check the pronunciation.
Right. So that's great. You mentioned something very important, I guess. People now are speaking about the accent, and they're saying that, well, if you do have a like native accent, or a native accent or something like that, or your accent is acceptable and sweet and nice like Americans or like British people, you may have more opportunities, especially if you're looking for a job or something. People with like accents that are medium, or accents that are not that good, they may have difficulties finding jobs or something. Do you agree with this? Or you think that the problem of accent is just something commercial, or people, they want to tell us that accent is important just to let us go and subscribe maybe in some programs or some learning stuffs, that they want to take our money after all?
Yeah, I actually agree with the second one, because let me tell you something. As you know, I want the others to know as well if they don't. We have a lot of different accents. We have Australian,
Yes.
British, Scottish, American, Canadian. Canadian is like very much similar to American, not that much difference. But
Yes.
even if you go to different states in America, if you go to Texas, for example, they have a different accent. So
Yes,
no, I
sure.
do not believe that accent is important. Even if in our country we have people from Esfahan or from Shiraz. When they speak in Farsi, they have a beautiful accent, but their
Yes.
pronunciation is correct. That's how we understand them. So pronunciation is 100% more important than accent.
That's good. So the important thing is pronunciation, as you said, and the important thing in learning English, especially for people who have just started learning the language, is to focus more on pronunciation, because it's pronunciation which will get you understood, which will make other people understand you, not the accent. Because you may
Exactly.
listen to different accents, and if you are good at English, you will understand all of these people. You don't need like someone to be a native speaker in order to understand. Okay,
No.
that's pretty clear. So now we're speaking about most of the followers, most of the people joining here, watching us, or who will watch us after this, because this live will be saved on my page, and everyone can rewatch it again. So everyone now here is asking the same questions. We want to learn the English language, and we are new to this language, and we don't know how to start. The problem is we are afraid if we start the wrong way, we may stop, we may give up or something. So according to your experience, according to to the different experience you've seen in your life of learning English, can you tell us what is I would say like the perfect way, but there is no perfect way actually, but in your opinion, what is the best way to start learning the English language in a correct way?
Well, I think the first thing you need to do is figure out why you want to learn English. And even if your reason is just to learn it because you like it, it's fine, but you need to know why. After you do that, even if you're not sure, I think the best way to get exposure is to find what you're interested in. So for example, I myself love music. So if you like music, you can start with listening to your favorite favorite songs every single day. Even if you don't see the lyrics, let your ears become familiar with the different sounds and the different pronunciation, the different words of English. After
Yeah.
that, you could go on and search for their lyrics on Google and try to memorize the song. This will help your mouth, your tongue exercise the pronunciation of English language. But after you've actually become familiar of what you like, what you're interested in, what your reason is for studying, I say the best way to learn English is to have a teacher, because they are experts. They know how to guide you. They know what steps. Have a teacher. If you don't want to have a teacher, I would still say the best resource for learning are movies and TV series, which you can take. There are steps to it. You can watch a TV series which is like 20 minutes long. You can watch it without subtitles and just listen and see how much you understand. You can write down the things you hear and then watch it a second time with English subtitles to check if what you've understood was correct or not. And then the third time would be to pay attention to the pronunciation and to the intonation and stress. And there are always great videos on Instagram.
Interesting.
On
so
YouTube.
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned something like not everyone speak about, which is having a teacher. Now, most learners, I think they, or let's just say part of the learners believe that teachers are not important. If you are willing to, like, if you have the will, if you have the why you spoke about, if you know why you're learning the language, and if you have a specific goal and you are motivated, they say, well, you can learn it independently and you don't need any teachers. They say that movies, TV series, all the resources online and the resources offline as well, we can use it and we can depend on ourselves to learn the English language without like needing to spend money on tutor or a teacher or something. Do you agree?
That is true. Yes, you know, I think it depends on the person. You know, I believe there are two kinds of people who want to learn something, doesn't matter what it is. Some people are people who could understand and get information and correct themselves on their own. Some people, like how I am even right now, or how I was raised, is that I always needed someone to be there to guide me, to want homework from me, to want things from me, ask me questions, correct me. So if if you are a person who could self-correct yourself, who could understand the difference between the different pronunciation of words, for example, or the difference in, let's say, first conditional and second conditional by just watching a couple of videos, then you can do it. Yes, because we've got a lot of resources, like you said, nowadays. You can record yourself, you can listen to yourself, talk to yourself. It doesn't matter what it is, and don't feel like you're weird if you talk to yourself. It's totally fine and it's great.
Yeah, there is a question here. Just answer it very quickly. Someone is saying, I don't know why I can understand English, but it's difficult for me to talk English. I mean, we have vocabulary, we have expressions. When we listen, we can understand like almost everything. And but if you ask me to speak about what I've just listened to, it's really hard for me. So, is there something we can do to improve our speaking? I mean, how do we move from just understanding to speaking, to actually having real conversation, to answering questions, asking questions, expressing ourselves like freely, speaking about fluency? I mean, how can we move step by step to reach fluency?
Well, you know, a lot of students are like this. When they come to class or when they're learning, they say, you know, I can totally understand you, but I don't know how to answer. I don't know what to say. I can answer you in my L1. I can answer you in my own language, but it's hard for me to say it in English. Well, let me tell you something that I think this is partly because of your self-confidence, not in your personal self-confidence. No, I mean in the language and speaking. You don't have the confidence. And the only advice I can give you is to talk. even if you think it's wrong, even if you think the person won't understand you, you need to move your mouth, your lips, and your tongue. That is the only way that you will be able to talk. You know what I do in my classes? I
I
have
have just
beginners.
well, I usually tell students to do this, actually, talk, just talk. But they end up saying, well, what do we say? We can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that we don't want to speak, but we don't have like anything to say. Even if you want to produce a sentence, it's really hard for us.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
there something practical we can do?
yes, you can start with very simple things like daily things, your opinion about something. When you're alone, you can practice, you can record yourself until you become more confident in speaking with other people. Like I said, what I do with beginners even, I tell them, I know that you might not understand some of the things I say. I know it's going to be hard for you to speak in English, but you need to speak English as much as possible, even if it's wrong. Just talk. The only way you can become fluent, the only way that you can start speaking well is to start. And it's hard, I know, believe me, but you need to start. You can talk about your opinion in different things. You can talk about the weather. Every morning you wake up, go pull your curtains and look at the sky and think, okay, let me talk about the weather. How is the weather? Is it sunny? Is it windy? What do I see in the sky? What do I see out of my window? These are just simple things you can start with.
Yeah, but speaking about this problem of expressing and of answering questions, of having conversation, sometimes it's really psychological. It has nothing to do with learning process. I mean, some people are shy. Some people, they can't even speak in their mother tongue in front of people. So how would you expect them to speak? And I used to teach in some language centers, and I got students who said to me, well, it's not that easy to have us speak because we don't speak in general. So the problem is speaking. I was wondering, are there any other ways apart from this speak? I don't know. Can we speak to ourselves, like, or do some methods for people who are shy, for people who can't express themselves?
You know, I am actually really interested in psychology, and even though some people might think that only people who have problems have to go see a doctor, I actually disagree. I say no, people don't have to have a specific problem to see a doctor. I've watched tons of psychology films, and I even see a therapist every once in a while to help me with my classes or my life. And I could tell you something, that there are some people, like you said, that it's in their personality, they're shy. And I think these people should get an expert's help. You know what I mean? An expert to help them, guide them. And they don't need to go...
You're breaking a little bit. I didn't catch up the last idea.
I said, can you hear me well now?
Yeah, now I can hear.
Okay. I said they should get help from an expert, and by getting help from an expert, I don't mean that they should actually go pay someone. No, they could find really good material on the internet, which could help them lose their shyness and become more confident in speaking and more socializing. But if they don't have that problem in their first language, and it's mostly in the second language that they're learning, like I said, when they're alone, they should start talking to themselves about their opinions or about simple things, what they see around in their room. And I think this could build up. Or they could start with family members after they've talked alone. They could go and say, okay, I want to talk about my room, for example, or the weather today.
Yes, sure. That's great. So moving on now to another topic. Now, speaking is really important, but in any language, now we have something called grammar, which most people are struggling with. And they're saying, well, we have vocabulary, we can produce sentences, we have some phrases and something, But the problem we have is the grammar. We make many mistakes in grammar. Should we worry that much about grammar? Or grammar is something to be solved with time, or we have some specific methods or some special method to deal with grammar? Or should we forget about grammar? Because after all, when we were kids, we learned the language without learning the grammar. So what should we do? I mean, should we focus that much on grammar? Is it that important? Especially if we are students. We're supposed to write, we're supposed to produce, to do many stuff that requires good grammar.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe that yes, grammar is very important. And that's why I say if you have someone who could really teach you, it would be better. But if you still can, like I said, if you can't, there are materials on the internet that would help you to understand grammar better. But again, I think the important thing is why you're learning English. Of course, if you want to take an IELTS exam or any other test like IELTS, grammar is very important. If you want to be understood correctly, you need grammar. You know why?
Yes.
Because you have to know the difference between the past tense and the present tense. If I say, for example, I'm talking to you, it's happening right now, I have to use ing form. But if I don't know and say I talk to you, people will be confused about what you're saying. So yes, grammar is very important, but the amount of focus or the amount of attention you need to give to it, I believe is the same as the other skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Well, maybe writing a little bit less.
Yeah,
Depends
some
on
some
your
teachers and some teachers and especially older teachers, not young teachers, they are very fond of grammar, and they tend to focus a lot on grammar. Speaking about schools, I mean governmental school, public schools, they focus too much on grammar, and sometimes the students, they say, well, we're sick and tired of grammar. And even some students are great speakers. I see some of my students are great speakers, but the problem, they hate English. Sometimes they just hate English. Why? Just because they fail in writing, or just because they fail in grammar. So is there a way to solve this, to make grammar more fun, to introduce grammar to students in a more funny way, or to do it differently? Because that's becoming a great topic actually among teachers to speak about. How can we teach grammar? How can we turn grammar into something sweet, to something acceptable to students?
I believe that there are games, and I actually have this game night with a colleague of mine on my page every week. And in this game night, we use grammar and we use it in games. We talk in English and it's full of grammar, But now with everything being online, I think teachers have become more creative. Because we have to show slides, we have to use different colors, pictures, animations, videos. So I think it's become more interesting for students as well. It's not like the classroom boring grammar. Okay, this is the rule, start talking. I know that we used to have this in our classrooms as well. We used different colors on the board, or we brought in slides. But right now, I believe it's more interesting, and we try to make it fun as much as we can. Learners who are learning themselves, like I said, I think you should find your interest. If it's with documentaries, if it's with movies, or if it's with songs, I think what you could do is go and listen to them, watch them, find the grammar, write it down, and then search on Google to find more about it and try using it. Like I said, you can record yourself.
Yeah, sure. I see that you have mentioned in the beginning memorizing lyrics, I think, and you said that you're fond of music, right? And you listen a lot to music.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, which type of music do you prefer?
Pop, R&B, a little bit of rap, maybe, not too much.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
great.
I don't
Actually, music
usually
is,
listen. I don't usually listen to one type of genre. It depends on the
yeah,
singer, the lyrics. But Beyonce, Adele, Christina Aguilera, Kelly Clarkson, and
sure.
yeah,
That
and
that's
a bunch of
that,
other men.
yeah. It's great. Actually, music is a great way to learn the language
Yes.
because I mean, like 80%, if I don't say more, they listen to music. So it's something that you do in your everyday life. We
Yeah.
can speak about a day, for example, you or me. Me also, I'm fond of music, listen a lot to music, different genre of music. And you can't speak about a day where you don't listen to music. So it is something that is part of your life. And I mean, you may listen to music in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, every time, even sometimes at work. So it is something that is close to you, very close to you in your everyday life.
Exactly.
So if you get to use this thing, which is listening to music, use it, and in learning English, that's going to be great because
Hmm.
you're going to be learning like 24 hours all the time learning. So
Exactly.
driving your car, learning English,
And you know,
walking,
you're
jogging.
working on
Yes,
all skills. You're working
yes,
on listening, you're reading the lyrics, you're working on
yes,
reading. On
sure.
writing, you could write the lyrics. You know what I always tell my students? I say, listen to the song. Well, it really depends on your level. And without search, like, don't search for the lyrics. Try to pause the
Try to
song
write
and
it down.
write down what you hear. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I actually did this and for a couple of years, and it really improved my listening. I used to spend a lot of time listening to songs, pausing, even with rap, with Eminem songs. I used to
Oh.
pause it and write down the lyrics for myself.
Yeah, and it's pretty useful because sometimes you find it very difficult, not just with Eminem songs. I mean, some pop music, sometimes you can't understand the lyrics. You
Yeah,
don't know what they're
exactly.
saying. But if you try to write those lyrics and you write like some sentences, and afterwards you go and search for the lyrics and correct what you have just written, that's really helpful. That it's
Exactly.
like if you have gone to it's like if you have gone to a writing lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get to correct yourself because you've done some mistakes and you may misspell some words or you used some words in a wrong way. So you get to correct yourself by looking at the lyrics. And when you listen over and over again, that's going to help you a lot because those expressions or those phrases, sometimes idioms are used also in
Yeah,
songs. So you get
exactly.
to learn idioms, you get to learn new expressions, you get to learn new vocabulary. Uh, so it's a great way, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is a great way. So also speaking about so music is part of our life, so we should use it to learn the language. Why not? And speaking about movies and TV series, uh, I mean, some people they don't have time to do this actually to learn a lot from movies and TV series because if you compare it to music, I mean, you may watch one movie in 1 month or 2 months, depends on your time. You may watch a series once, like in a year or two in years. So not like music. Music, it's with you every time.
But
What
you
do you
know,
think?
there are some TV series that are only 20 minutes, like Friends. They're
Hmm.
20 minutes long. Most of TV series are either 40 minutes or 20 minutes. So I don't, I'm sorry, I can't accept that people don't have 20 minutes a day to watch a TV series. Even if you watch it
Yeah.
twice, it'll be 40 minutes.
Yeah, sure. So speaking about now some the point I said earlier about writing.
Mhm.
Some people or some students, and I'm speaking about students because there are two categories of people. Some learners they just want to have to communicate. They just want to speak. That's all. You don't need like to write. They say, well, writing. If I learn writing, that's okay. If I don't learn it, that's okay because they don't need it for producing. I mean, for writing emails or something.
Yeah.
I'm talking about students who are going to pass exams, who are going to need to write reports, to write emails and everything. some students are great speakers, as I said. They speak like they don't have any problem. They have some great levels of fluency. But when it comes to writing, they really have some big issues that they should be working on. I mean, what is your advice? Apart from reading, of course, reading is great solution to be a good writer. You need to write. To be a good writer, you need to read. So apart from this, is there any other things we can do to make ourselves good writers?
One way is to read short stories and write a summary of them. You can even search the summary on Google. So like you can maybe check some of the things if you want to. Like I said, always with the summary. Summary always actually helps because you don't actually, if you're like learning alone, you don't have a teacher who could like correct your writing. So I think if you're self-studying or self-learning, writing summaries are the best because you would have a source to actually check if it's correct or not. Other than that, yeah, I like I said, lyrics, way of working on writing as well.
Yes, sure. But lyrics, I think lyrics of songs are kind of like informal. Most of the time, songs are informal language. So here I'm specifically speaking about academic writing. So
okay, yeah. Like IELTS.
It's
okay.
different. Yeah.
Well, you know, we have books for that. I think when you want to take a test like IELTS or TOEFL, you should definitely work on books. There are books like Mindset, there are Cambridge books, there are Macmillan books. It depends on the score you want to gain, and they guide you through the way. You could just go on with that because writing for these tests are very important that you learn them correctly and you actually know the rules. It's not like learning how to speak or learning a language and say, okay, you know what, I'm just going to write it myself. No, it's totally different. You need the rules because you will lose score.
Of course. So it's fine that people are asking different questions about the language, and I see some questions here. I think Shayma. Yes, Shayma is asking about how to master English skills and improve writing. That's the thing we're discussing now. See if there are some questions, guys. You can, as I said in the beginning, you can put them in the comments. There is a question box below, if you can see it. Question box here in the below. You can put your questions there, or you can ask your questions directly in the comments. Right? See if. Someone is asking if only listening is really enough to learn the language, to improve the level.
That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, whatever you learn, either from books, either from listenings, movies, TV series, doesn't matter what it is, you need to use it. So even if you're listening to music or podcasts, like someone mentioned, yes, podcasts are also a great way to learn English. Okay, not completely, but to some point. The best way is to, when you learn a new vocabulary or when you learn a new phrase, write it down, use it. If you don't know the word, go search it on your dictionary. English to English, not in your own language.
Yeah.
So you search it on an English to English dictionary, read the definition. If it's too hard for you, search it on Google. You can always find pictures or search for an easy definition on Google. It will bring an easy definition for you. And also look at the examples it gives you. Write them down and try to give more examples and use that new vocabulary or phrase in different sentences. If you do this with the different things you learn, and also learn the other words related to that word. Like, for example, if you're learning something like shoe, go and find the other words, like what is shoelace? What is the other words related to it, and try to make up a story and record yourself and listen to yourself to correct yourself.
Yeah, actually, this is great idea. Learn things related.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for something about vocabulary. You can learn, for example, vocabulary about car. So you learn different parts of a car. You learn different verbs about a car. You learn like anything related to the car, and try and make like a story, or try and speak to someone about your car, or your friend's car or something. So this will help you like keep those words like linked to each other. The more the words are linked to each other, the more they will stick into your mind.
Exactly.
Because if you jump from one category of words to another category, you will not like learn any specific ones.
And also, you need to learn the words in context, in a story.
That's the idea. Yes. That's the idea. So learn, like the example of car, try to learn the vocabulary of cars, different vocabulary, and link them using like story, or tell someone, speak to someone about it. That's good. Another question that is repeated a lot. Many of my students are asking this question. Should we like use translation? Because when we are beginners, or when we are starters, we tend to be like not knowing anything in the language. If you don't give us something in our mother tongue, if you don't help us using translation, especially in class. I mean, some students, they say, please speak Arabic. Some people, they say, please speak our language so that we can understand.
Yeah.
Is this helping the students? Is this a good way to learn by translation, to translate to students, so that to motivate them? No?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not a good way. But you know, when you're starting to learn, I know that if you live in an English-speaking country, you have to speak in English, even in beginner classes. But the benefit that you have, like I said in the beginning, but you're living in an English-speaking country. But if you're living in your own country and English is your second or even foreign language, it's going to be hard. And there will be some points that you will need to switch for only a word or just a phrase. But it also depends on the level of the learners. So I believe that if a student is learning, maybe 60 to 70% should be all 60 to 70% should be all in English, beginner level. As the level goes up, the amount of your L1,
100%.
which is, our Farsi will become like less and less and less till it's 0. But you know, I do have this experience.
Excuse me, how about children?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same case?
No, children usually learn by playing songs and just speaking. Children are way different. It's like how we learned our our native tongue, our mother tongue. We learned through looking and listening and repeating. They're way different. But you know, I have this experience. I worked with a kid who was 8 years old. And even though it was the first years of me teaching English, even though my colleagues told me Farsi isn't allowed, you shouldn't speak Farsi, but I used the translation method. When I wanted to teach grammar, or when I wanted to work on some sentences, he made sentences. When I wanted to ask the sentences, I asked it in Farsi and wanted the English equivalent from him. After 2 years, he started speaking like me, and he was only 8.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, I don't agree that it's not help at all, but I do believe that for adults, it won't work.
Yeah.
Because if you start speaking in your L1 with the adults, they're going to start talking in Farsi all the time.
Yeah. Because I believe that if you want someone to learn the language, you know, I have a couple of students, young learners. I mean, from the age of 9, I guess, to 13.
Mm-hmm.
And what I try to do with them is not teach them, like, I don't teach them anything at all. I mean, not the real teaching. I just, for 2 hours, they are inside the class, and inside the class, the environment I create is an environment where the mother tongue is not allowed at all. So they
Yes.
find themselves in some, so we play games and we do some stuff, we sing. So if they want to ask for something, they'll need to ask in English. So this environment push them. It's like they try their hard to produce the sentences. They try their best to ask me in a different way. Sometimes they just use gestures. They just try to communicate the idea to me without using their mother tongue. Can you believe it? Just with gestures.
Yeah,
How
I
can
know,
we?
exactly.
So
They'll start pointing and doing, you
yeah,
know,
it's a
that's what I said I
pointing.
do in my beginners classes even. I tell them no Farsi is allowed. And they say, "But I can't, I
Yeah,
don't know anything." I say, just try by pointing, by gestures, whatever you can. You need to try and speak in English, you know, because English is not like German. It's not like Italian. All of us, wherever we live, have been exposed to English from when we were a kid. All of our
yeah.
languages have some words from English. We've heard English in songs, in TV, on TV, and many other places. So we're more familiar with English than any other language. It's easier to
And we're more
just
likely to
try.
learn English. We're more likely to learn English than other
Yeah,
languages.
exactly.
Yeah, children, they tend to learn very fast. So because some people, they're asking this question, some parents here watching us, and they want to encourage their kids to learn the English language, and they're asking how can we work with them. Well, there are different methods, different ways. Maybe, as you said, the kid you were working with learned through this way of translation. Maybe this method, the same method, it won't work for other
No,
students.
no, 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 it
So
won't.
because everyone learn in a different way. I mean, even we adults, some people they learn through music. Some people they can't. They can't learn through music, through songs. Some people they learn through listening. Some people they don't learn through listening. They need to read stuff. They need to read things in order to learn. So we have different learning style, and we should keep this in mind because some tutors online, some teachers online, they say, well, I've brought you the perfect method of learning the language, which is completely misleading, actually.
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't you
kids
agree?
actually learn better with like, this is how I learned English actually. I learned it with flashcards of pictures and verbs. And then on the back of the flashcards, there were like words that rhymed with that verb. And
Yeah.
parents could like start by daily routines or start talking with their kids at home, like saying clean your room, or it depends on the age actually, or when they're like playing or when they want to color, they could start using English in their homes.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually good. Uh, Another question. I think we got some questions here before I move to the next one.
Actually,
So,
someone was asking if we could have a conversation with ourselves. I think Fatih.
yes.
We actually answered them. Yes, you can. You can talk about your opinions about different things or the things in your room, the things you see out of the window, record yourself, or maybe ask some questions, record yourself, listen to it, and then answer, and then record yourself. So, yeah, it's actually a great way to practice speaking.
Yes. So I think this is a general question, how we can know our level in the language. I
Hmm.
think it's a little bit general. So
Yeah.
I think we went through details of this topic.
You know, I've heard
Would you
there
like to
are
say something about this?
you know, I've heard there are placement tests on Cambridge.
Yes.
I haven't tried them, but maybe you could try that. But you know, each and every student is different, and it's hard to predict because someone has to be there or to evaluate you. You know what I mean? There has to be a test. There has to be someone to ask you different series of questions and then tell you your level. I don't think it would be possible for you yourself to know what level you are. That's my opinion.
Yeah, all right. So another, I think I see that this question is more about a program to develop your English. I think he means some books. Would you like to recommend some books for beginners, books for intermediate or something, a series of books to learn English?
Sure. Maybe he meant, I don't know if it's a
Program to
he.
develop your English.
Yeah, I think maybe they meant applications, but if you want to know about books, like I said, first find your interest in what you like. There are many different books. If you like reading storybooks, find which one you like, and it has to be the same as your level. So, you know, it has to be in a way that it's not too difficult or too easy for you. You have to, I think it should be like 60% difficult. You know what I mean? You have to
Yeah.
understand most of it, but at the same time, learn a lot of new things. It shouldn't be that hard that when you're reading a sentence and say, oh my God, there's 3 new words in one sentence. It's hard for me to understand. It shouldn't be that hard. But you should be able to read and understand and learn new phrases and vocab at the same time.
Yes, great. You mentioned like apps. Is there any apps that can help with this, with reading or with
With
learning English? Some specific ones?
you know, there are podcasts that people could listen to. There's BBC English and other
Yes.
things
BBC
about,
English is a great one, actually.
yeah. Again, with podcasts, you can find your interest. Like I found this funny, actually, comedy and psychology together. Like it's a game show. This is what I was interested in. So I think you need to go and find what you're interested in. What you could do is actually go on Google and search programs good for developing my English, and then look at the list and try each one to see what you're interested in. Because if I come and say something, it's based on my interest and maybe it won't suit you.
Sure. That's good. There is this question here. Someone is saying we have problems with consistency. Some techniques, please, to be more proactive and avoiding procrastination. Yeah, how to avoid procrastination. Would you like to say something about this?
Why don't you tell me your opinion first?
Well, he's speaking here about techniques to avoid procrastination because sometimes we decide to learn the language or we decide to do something in general, but the problem is we say, well, we will do it tomorrow or we'll do it the day after tomorrow, but we don't find that motive that makes us start doing that thing, which is learning English in this case. So in my opinion, I think that the problem when we procrastinate is that we don't have a clear vision ahead. We're just saying like we want to learn English. We don't have a specific goal. I mean, if the goal is really specific, is clear, the more the goal is clear, the better you will learn, and the sooner you will start. Because sometimes you say, I want to learn, but you don't start. Why you don't start? Because it's not urgent for you. It's just something that you put on a waiting list. You're saying, well,
Yeah, exactly.
I will learn English one day, but when? your mind just procrastinates. Say tomorrow, next month, next year, and maybe you will not do it just because you are not clear about yourself. You don't know what you want actually, what you really want in life.
You know what? The problem that I think most of us have is that we don't really know what we want in life and we don't know our
Yes,
goals. So the
yes,
first thing I think that you should do is have a monthly goal, monthly goals even, or plan your month or week or day. It depends on how you're more comfortable with it. What you could do is categorize your plans and goals from most important, necessary to unnecessary, or not very important, which would be for your
yes.
long-term goals or for things you want to do later. So if English is something that is necessary for you or is very important, it should be one of your main goals. And that's something that you need to work on. If you have your goals written down, it would help you to start sooner. That's what I think.
Yeah, and that, as I said in the beginning, it's all about how clear your vision is about what you want in life, whether you really want to
Exactly.
learn the language, because after all, and one more thing I would like to say is about your goals. We shouldn't have. I usually say this to my students. It's your goal should be very specific. It shouldn't be a broad goal. In my opinion, I think that
Exactly.
saying that I want to learn English like this, I want to learn English using this sentence is totally wrong. You need to be specific about what you want exactly in the language.
Like going
What we
step
should
by
do is
step.
that, yeah, step by step. For example, I give you, as you said, monthly plan or monthly schedule.
Mhm.
Say, for example, this month I will be learning, let's say, I will be learning how to go to the airport and express myself and ask how to go to a restaurant and order food, how to do this, how to do this. So be specific in your goals. The more your
Yeah.
goals are specific, the more after the 1 month finishes, you will know that you have done something, that you have achieved something. But if you
Yeah.
just say, I want to learn English, learning English is is a very broad goal. So,
Exactly.
Gani, that was very interesting live with you. We've got like, I think, 3 minutes or more.
Aw.
If you would like to say something, or it was nice actually speaking to you here. Very
Yes, you
interesting, very
too.
informative.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity and this live. I hope it was helpful for everyone. And the only thing I want to tell you, which I already did, I'm going to tell you again, you need to just start. You need to start talking. And by talking and practicing English, it means you have to move your lips, your mouth, your tongue. Um, you can find an English speaking partner on the internet, on social media. You can start commenting under posts on Instagram. A lot of teachers, even me myself, we put content for you guys to practice. So you can start speaking, recording yourself. You need to just start and getting a move on instead of delaying it for tomorrow or next week or next month.
Just this very briefly, it's a question that is addressed to me actually. For Saeed, he said, I'm an English student. He's in the faculty in the university, particularly S5, linguistic options. What is your advice? Well, at the university, it's all about hard work, and you're majoring in English, so you're supposed to be hardworking students if you want to get, because your degree, after all, you will get your degree, but afterwards, when you go to the domain or to the work field, you'll find that you will need skills. It's not the info that you will need. It's not it's not the information that you will need. You will need skills. So try to focus more on your skills, on your speaking skills, on your writing skills. Okay, you are studying linguistics, but it doesn't mean that you will be like majoring all the time in linguistics. Afterwards, when you go and work in companies or something, you will need skills. Focus on building your speaking skills, building your writing skills, because that's what you're going to need more after graduating. Thank you so much,
Exactly.
Yagani.
Thank
was
you for
nice.
having me.
That's great. Thank you so much. And you're welcome anytime. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in another live. What do you think?
For sure, for sure. Why not? I would love
Yeah,
to
next
have
time on
you.
your page, of course.
Of course, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you
a nice
again.
night.
You
Good
too.
night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you guys for joining this live. I don't know if there's still other questions because I've tried to answer all your questions related to different topic. Hind, what is your question? Sorry, didn't get your question. What was your question? I didn't see actually your question. Thank you so much, guys. The live will be saved. You can rewatch it again on Instagram, and later you may be able to watch it on YouTube as well. Don't forget to stay tuned for more videos, for more content about learning English. Thank you so much for joining this live, and it's been nice having you here and talking to you and giving you advice. Thank you so much, and see you again. Have a good night. Thank you.